Hi everyone, happy Monday. This week we are going to start by working on narrative writing, and you will get a new prompt every day this week to work on. Just like we did last week of going over all the components of letter writing, that is what we are going to do with narrative writing today. You will have a prompt on either Google Classroom or on the paper-based packet, depending on what you are doing. We will go over the prompt at the end because I have written an example of one myself. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If not, we're going to get started. So narrative writing, the purpose of narrative writing is to tell a story. So you describe an experience, event, or a sequence of events in the form of a story. So this week, everything that you are working on is going to be you trying to come up with a story based on the prompt that we've given you. We try to come up with some ones that would be interesting and fun for you to write about, so hopefully that is what you do. So there are parts of narrative writing that you need to have. You always need a beginning, a middle, and an end to your story. You need a setting. So you need to describe the location or the place that your story is taking place. You need to have characters. If you're writing a story about your own life, the characters are going to be you and whoever else it pertains to. That might be your family members, that might be your friends. So you can be a character within your own story. There will be a problem or a goal, and then a resolution or an outcome. So overall, what happened, and you have to tell us the outcome of it, the ending of it. Some important words that you can use throughout your narrative writing would be first, then, next, finally, in the end, because those are all transitional words, but they also help you when you're doing a sequence of events because it places them in order. And I said that narrative writing had to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So these words could help you form your paper into a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's obviously a lot more out there. You can use second, third, fourth, whatever you want. Just please remember that a comma always goes after your transitional words or phrases. So there are some components to narrative writing, like I said. So we're going to go over the writing checklist first because I want to make sure that you have all of this in your writing this week. So the writing checklist is just a checklist for you to use whenever you're writing any type of writing. So letters, narrative writing, informational, opinion, whatever you use, you still need to have these components in your paper. So use a capital letter at the beginning of each sentence. It's extremely important that you are capitalizing your letters after a period. You need to indent each paragraph. If you're doing it on the computer, remember that is tab. You click it once and it will move you over. If you are doing it on paper, then it's finger spacing. So use 2 or 3 fingers in between so that you can start your indent. Punctuation at the end of sentences. Super, super important that you're using periods, exclamation points, question marks to finish your sentences. Another one I wanted to talk about was commas. You need to be using commas when you're breaking your longer sentences into 2 parts. So you can use the comma when you're separating your thoughts as well, or when you're listing. If you said, today I went to the store, I bought broccoli, carrots, cucumbers, bananas, you need to use commas in between each of those words because you are listing them. And then please always use spell check. If you're on the computer, remember it will do the red line underneath your word. If you are doing it on paper, please have a parent or guardian check it over. And then for those of you using Google Classroom, please, please, please make sure that when you're finished writing your essay, that you click the turn in button in the top right hand corner. It's blue, you click it, it probably will make you click it a second time, but then that way I can go in and grade your paper. Next, this is the checklist that we need to use for narrative writing specifically. So just like last week how we had a checklist for letter writing, this is our checklist for narrative writing. So we need to make sure that we always have an introduction or we start it out in the correct way. A lot of the prompts that you'll see are not necessarily questions, like a yes or a no question, but more of you thinking of all these ideas first, and then you need to write it in a complete sentence, but I will show you. It's easier to explain when you're looking at my example. You need to have a setting. So again, a location, a place that your story is taking place, characters, and then a beginning, a middle, and an end to your story, and then you can finish it off with a conclusion. So today's prompt is on your Google Classroom and on your paper-based packet. Today's prompt is about your favorite vacation. So what I did was I kind of jotted down some notes up here. So if I were you, I would take this time to maybe write these down on some paper, and then you can just fill it in. So best vacation, I can just say mine was Hawaii. What did you do? And then I can list these, and this is kind of like your graphic organizer, because you are just putting out information that you are going to write within your essay. Remember, when you're just taking notes, they don't need to be in complete sentences. This is just a way for you to brainstorm and get your ideas out and onto paper, so that when you do go to write your essay, you do know what you want to write about. Where did you go? Okay, well again, I could say Hawaii, but I could be more specific and tell you exactly where. What did you see? I could say fish, volcano, waterfalls. When did you go? So I could say when I was 10 years old. Maybe you have the date that you want to talk about. Who went with you? My family. So now I've taken some notes, and I know, sorry, let me move you closer so you can see. Now I know exactly what I'm going to write about and what I want to write about, because I just took a few notes. So you can do that now. You can pause me if you'd like so that you can take your own notes. But now I'm going to show you an example of what your essays should kind of look like. Move it over here. Okay. So I started it with a title and with my name. So I said, My Favorite Vacation by Miss Gomez. So I centered that. Please notice that I did use spacing for my indent. So it starts by saying, now the first part of my narrative checklist is an introduction. So this is how I'm going to start it. When I was 10 years old, my family and I went to Hawaii for summer vacation. This was by far one of my favorite trips. This is why we edit our paper, for many reasons. So that is not the beginning of my story. This is just my introduction and introducing to my readers that I am going to talk about my family's trip to Hawaii. My beginning is what I really did when I was there, not when I'm just introducing it. So next, I move to my next paragraph, and again, I use my finger spacing to indent, and I said, for starters, so that was a transitional word or phrase that I used, our hotel was very close to the ocean. We were able to snorkel and swim with the colorful fish. My brother and I also had rafts to float in the water. Having the ocean so close by was very cool. So I told you exactly what we did and why I thought it was so fun and very cool. Then, so that was my beginning. Now I'm going to move on to my middle, or my second reason of why I thought this trip was fun. Next, we went on hikes to see waterfalls. At the bottom of each waterfall was a pool of water that everyone could swim in. These waterfalls were beautiful. So again, I gave you a reason of why I liked it, and then I explained myself. I got to go swimming in the pool of water. Then down here is going to be my ending, but not my conclusion. So then I say, finally, Hawaii was my greatest trip because my family and I saw a volcano. We took a car up to the top of the mountain and rode bikes all the way down during sunrise. It was amazing. It was an amazing sight to see and extremely fun. So again, that's my third part of my story of why I thought my Hawaii vacation was so much fun and my favorite. And then I wrap everything up by saying, in conclusion, going to Hawaii was my favorite vacation because I went snorkeling, hiking, and bike riding. I also enjoyed my trip because I spent a lot of time with my family. I wish I could go back and experience this trip again. So then I end my story by giving my 3 reasons again of why I thought it was fun: snorkeling, hiking, and biking. And then I also talked about my time spent with my family and how I also enjoyed that time. And I wrapped it all up by saying that I would love to go on this trip again. So today, that is what you are going to have the option or the opportunity to do. It's an option. You are more than welcome to take notes, do it how I did, because all of this I put into my essay and turned it into essay format. Please remember that you need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You are telling a story, so you can be as creative as you want. If you don't remember a fun vacation for you, be creative. Make one up. Tell us what you would do there, where it would be, who would be part of it. It's really, really important that you're going through and answering the who, what, where, when, why, and how. But we also don't want you to say, who was there? My family. What did I do? I went swimming. Please try to write them in more complete sentences than that by saying something along the lines where we were able to snorkel and swim with colorful fish. I wasn't listing. My sentence was in a complete sentence. Please, please, please also remember that sentences do not start with the word and. We need to move away from that. They also do not start with because. Try your absolute best to use transitional words or prepositional phrases. If you need extra examples, I am more than happy to send some over to help you. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions. Bye.